In today's modern parenting, it's never too early to start prepping your high schooler for their college entrance exam.
That's especially true since national test scores in reading and math continue to decline. According to the ACT test organization, that's one of the standardized tests, last year test scores plummeted to their lowest levels in 32 years. And listen to this, more than 4 in 10 seniors in high school meet none of the college readiness benchmarks. Experts say it's partly due to the pandemic's impact on learning. Joining us now, Barry Norman. She's a certified educational planner and the co-founder and head counselor at Expert Admissions. Good to have you with us. Let me start with the tests themselves. I know they're optional at a lot of colleges now, so some kids aren't even taking these tests. But if your kids want to take a standardized test, talk about how important that is, or how important it is to kind of prep for it.
Sure. So they are optional. I think that's the most important point. Everyone should know that most colleges, the SAT and ACT are optional. However, that doesn't mean that it might not enhance your chances to submit what good scores would be at a particular college. And so if you want to try to enhance your portfolio or your profile, taking the test is a good idea, or at least trying to. It's important because if you submit scores, they're going to factor into the decision making. Yeah. They're one of many factors, but make no mistake about it.
If you have good scores, it can really help you.
Right, but if you have bad scores relative to what a college thinks is good or not good, they can also hurt you.
So let's talk about that, because these tests can be hard to grasp, or maybe you're just not a good tester. I remember I did not like standardized tests at all. So how can you prep well for those?
Sure. So it depends on who you are and how you learn. So some students can self-prep and use resources that are available online, or books, or things, digital resources, of course. Other students need one-on-one help, and they need help guiding them through the concepts, through the tricks, and just getting to know the test better. So it depends what your issues are with the test, how you should prep.
Yeah, I was going to ask, if you can't afford one of those prep companies, I mean, they all advertise. I know my 2 kids just went through all of this, so you know, there's all kinds of prep that you can pay for. But what if you can't afford that? What do you do?
Well, SAT and ACT offer a lot of free resources, first and foremost. There's also Khan Academy. There are
free videos, right?
Free videos, free tutoring. There's a lot of resources out there. YouTube is a treasure trove of information. Again, it depends what you need. Do you need to learn the basic concepts of geometry, or do you need to learn a little bit about sort of the ins and outs of the test and how to outsmart it?
But that preparation is so key, because so many people don't talk about the fact that these tests are something you actually have to learn how to do, train on how to do it. Teenagers, though, don't always say that they need help, or don't always want to say, I don't really get this, or I'm not testing well. So what are some signs your child may need some extra support?
Sure. In particular, with regard to this test, a good first step is always to do a diagnostic. See how you do. Don't do it too early, because if you take it as an early 10th grader or younger, you shouldn't expect to be getting the score that even you would get with no prep as an 11th grader.
It adds to the stress, right? If you take it so early that you're already stressing about college.
But you know what? It makes sense why people think that that's a good idea, because it's very logical to think, well, if I start prepping earlier and I know I need the prep, now I have more time, I have less stress because I won't be in as much a condensed time period, so I'm going to start earlier. But I find kids who start earlier plateau right at about the time they can give us their best work.
So when should you start?
I think end of 10th grade, you start taking diagnostics full length, SAT, ACT, make the comparison, see what's best for you, start prepping around the beginning of 11th grade. But think of it as beginning of 12th grade as sort of the end game for when you should wrap up testing, not end of 11th grade. I think people mistake that.
Really helpful information. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. Barry Norman, thank you. There's much more news ahead.
You're watching NBC News Daily.